All right, we're about to become cosmic detectives. Our crime scene, the surface of Mars. And the secret we're trying to uncover has been, well, literally buried for an ice age. So let's dig in. So when you picture Mars, this is probably what comes to mind, right? A planet that's just defined by its red, dusty, and, well, seemingly empty deserts. It's like the postcard from a cold, totally lifeless world. But what if that's all just a disguise? Here's the big question that's driving our whole investigation. What if that dusty surface is just a blanket? A blanket covering absolutely enormous glaciers of pure water ice. What if Mars isn't nearly as dry as it looks, but is hiding an entire ice age just waiting for us to find it? Okay, so to solve this mystery, we have to go where the clues are. And our investigation is going to take us to a specific, kind of rugged mountain range in the northern hemisphere of Mars, a place called Erebus Montes. All right, let's get our bearings. We're going to start with the big picture here, zeroing in on the northern hemisphere of Mars. This whole area is known for its pretty wild and fascinating geology. You can kind of see the lower elevations in blue and the higher ground in red. As we push in closer, you can see our target, Erebus Montes, is in a really interesting neighborhood. I mean, it's nestled right there in the mid-latitudes between these huge volcanic plains and the absolutely colossal Olympus Mons, the largest volcano in the entire solar system. This whole region is just a geologic hotbed. And we've arrived. This is it. This is Erebus Montes. Now, it's not one single mountain. It's more of a scattered collection of really ancient hills and mesas, and is right here, hiding in plain sight, that we're going to find our evidence. All right, this is where the real detective work starts. We need to look really closely at these landforms for the telltale signs of buried ice. The surface itself holds the key, but only if you know what you're looking for. The very first thing geologists noticed about this place is that the ground just looks weird. It's not loose rock and dust like you might expect. The whole landscape has this kind of soft, flowing look to it, almost like somebody poured thick pancake batter all over everything and then just flash froze it in place. And this right here, this is our first major clue. You see these fan-shaped flowing features right at the base of the hills? Geologists have a name for them, lobate debris aprons, or LDAs for short. And they look exactly like something has been slowly but surely creeping downhill for a very, very long time. So what in the world is an LDA? Well, think of it as a mix of rock, dust, and a massive amount of ice. The ice is the engine here. It allows the entire mixture to slowly creep downhill over thousands, even millions of years, behaving just like a glacier you'd find here on Earth. Okay, if you thought that was strange, our second clue is even weirder. When we zoom right in on the surface of these LDAs, we find this incredibly complex, wrinkled pattern. Scientists gave it the nickname brain terrain. And, yeah, you can see why. This is definitely not something you'd find on a simple pile of rocks. So, how does something like that even form? The best theory we have comes down to one word: sublimation. See, on Mars, the atmosphere is so incredibly thin that water ice doesn't melt into a liquid like it does here. Nope, it goes directly from a solid to a gas. So as the ice just beneath the surface vanishes into vapor, the ground on top of it kind of slumps and collapses, creating these really intricate patterns over millions of years. Okay, let's pause for a second. We've got our clues, these flowing aprons, and this bizarre brain terrain. It's time to put all the evidence together and really make the case that what we're looking at are massive buried glaciers. So let's lay out the evidence piece by piece. First, we have the overall lobe-like shapes that just scream slow flow. Second, we've got those surface textures that are a dead giveaway for sublimating ice. Third, we see they have this gentle, domed top. And finally, they're covered by a layer of rock and dust that acts like a perfect blanket, insulating the ice underneath. But here it is. This is the smoking gun. This is a topographic map. And that really distinct, bulging profile you see, that is the classic signature of a thick, slow-moving flow. It's exactly what you'd expect from a massive glacier, hundreds of meters thick, just sagging under its own incredible weight. That is not a pile of rock. That is a massive body of ice. So, you gotta understand, we're not talking about those clean white glaciers you see in pictures of Earth. These are different.
They're what geologists call rock glaciers. And the best way to picture them is to imagine a mountain glacier right here on our planet, but then you bury it completely under a thick blanket of rock and dust. That debris is what hides the ice and, crucially, protects it from the sun.
So the verdict is in, and honestly, the evidence is just overwhelming. The strange flowing landscapes of Erebus Montes are, without a doubt, hiding enormous ancient glaciers. It's a lost ice age, perfectly preserved just beneath that layer of red dust. Okay, finding buried glaciers in one little spot on Mars is incredible for sure. But this story? Oh, it gets so much bigger. Let's zoom back out, because the implications of this discovery, they're truly planetary.
Just look at this map. Every single one of those dots is another spot with features exactly like the ones we've been looking at. They form two gigantic bands of ice circling the entire planet's mid-latitudes. So Erebus Montes wasn't some weird one-off. It's just one part of a global buried ice age. So what does all this tell us? Well, for one, it's proof that Mars's climate hasn't been stable at all. The whole planet actually wobbles on its axis over millions of years, and that dramatically shifts the climate. Ice from the poles has literally flowed down to the mid-latitudes and then retreated over and over again. In other words, Mars has its own massive ice ages, just like Earth. And this is why it's more than just a really cool science story. This buried ice is one of the biggest, most get-at-able reservoirs of water on the entire planet. For future human explorers, this isn't just a geological curiosity. It's a gold mine. We're talking drinking water, we're talking breathable air, we're even talking rocket fuel, all just waiting for us right under the surface. So take one last look at this incredible alien landscape. It's so easy to just see barren rock and dust, isn't it? But now we know better. Now we know that just beneath that thin veil lies a frozen ocean of possibility, just waiting for us to explore. And all of this leaves us with one huge, tantalizing question. As we start to seriously plan for humanity's future on Mars, we have to wonder, are these buried glaciers more than just a relic of a past ice age? Could they be the one thing that unlocks our entire future on the red planet? The answer, it seems, is waiting right there, just beneath the surface.